sunshines, I hope everyone's doing okay. So I'm going to be doing another advice video for you today, and as you can see from the title, I am going to be doing a video on how to overcome self-harm. And obviously, once again, I'm not a professional by any means. I'm just going off by what I've been taught by professionals and life lessons that I've learnt myself. This is a very sensitive subject, so if you get sensitive by people mentioning self-harm, then I would advise you not to watch this video, because I don't know how this video is going to go out and I don't really want to trigger anyone, because that's not my intention anyway. Like, I struggle with self-harm. I've struggled with self-harm for a couple of years, I would say. It's been on and off, but it's only got worse like the last couple of years. And I still do struggle with self-harm, so it is quite a sensitive subject for me to talk about myself. Like, people think that self-harm isn't an addiction, but it's part of a mental illness. So, and you can't help it. Like, you're so unwell, you're so mentally unwell that when you're dealing with like when you're in a crisis, the only coping mechanism that comes to your mind is self-harm, because you feel like you can get like a release out of it. But your mind tricks you, because obviously, like, the more you do something, the more you become addicted to it, and it becomes a really bad habit. So the main key things to do if like you need to self-harm or you have urges to self-harm, like, are to keep distracted as much as you can. If your urges are so strong, then I would either get like an elastic band on your wrist, so that you could just ping the elastic band on your wrist, and that can give you like, and when you ping like an elastic band against your skin, that does kind of hurt. So, and that should give you like a bit of a shock, but when you flick an elastic band on your skin, it's not going to leave like a massive mark on your skin, and it will fade in time. Whereas if like you do other self-harm, like which involves cutting the skin or anything like that, that's when it becomes really dangerous, and that's when it will probably scar. But the main thing is, guys, if you want to stop self-harming, you've got to make that decision for yourself, because there's no point in other people telling you what to do, because obviously you're not going to be in the right frame of mind to stop. So you've got to be in the right frame of mind yourself, and you've got to be in control of what you're doing, and it's got to be up to you if you want to stop, because you're in control basically. Another way you can overcome self-harm is by talking to someone. So when you get like the feeling or the urge to self-harm, and you can feel yourself getting into a bit of a state with your emotions, make sure you talk to someone. Like, talk to someone and get it out. And even if like you feel like you're having a big rant to them, I think they'd rather you do that than you self-harming, because talking to someone can actually help, and if you let it all out, it can make you feel calm afterwards. And even if you have like a big cry as well, because sometimes like after you've got all your emotions out, you do feel a lot better after you've expressed yourself and you've told someone how you're feeling. So another one is you could try and distract yourself as much as possible. So what I mean by this is like you can listen to music, you can do some colouring, you could go for walks, you could watch a film, like anything like that. You could see a friend. So doing distraction techniques are very, well, mindfulness techniques even, because it means that you're focused on other things rather than thinking about the self-harm and like what you're going to do. I know some people, when they have the urge to self-harm, they sometimes draw on their body. So it looks like they're self-harm, but they do it in like red, so it gives off like the effect that it's like blood from like if you do self-harm. So some people do that and they do think it's very helpful. Another thing is, like, if you have an urge to self-harm, maybe put your face in cold water or touch some ice, so then like it shocks your system, because when like you go from hot to cold, it calms you down and it like shocks you and you're like, oh my god, wow, that's cold. So yeah, definitely like touch something cold, because then like it obviously shocks your system and your nerves. And also another way to distract yourself is if you've got your own distraction box, then maybe go in your distraction box, because then you can find what's useful for you, and because like you would have made your own distraction box, it's more personalised for you, so you've put things in your distraction box that you know will help yourself. So That's why it's good to have your own distraction box, guys. Like, if your self-harm is like getting worse and worse, like, I would suggest, like, obviously get it seen to and make sure you get it treated, but make sure you tell like someone. And if you need to go to your GP about this, then they can refer you to like the mental health teams or like a therapist or anything like that, because you can get in a really nasty cycle when it comes to self-harm, because like it becomes like a daily thing for some people, because like that's their way of coping and they use that as their coping mechanism because they think nothing else is going to help them. The thing is like when you do self-harm, like it is a sort of release, and I don't know about anyone else, but when I self-harm, I actually feel quite relieved that I've actually finally achieved something. I know that might sound really weird, but I just feel like a failure in every aspect of my life. But when I self-harm, it makes me have a sigh of relief, because I feel like I've done it, and I've done something. So it makes me feel quite overwhelmed because I've actually finally done something. But there are loads of ways of like overcoming self-harm, like distracting yourself, talking to people, and just going for walks and maybe seeking help about it. That's the main one. The main thing is you've got to keep yourself distracted from the urges to self-harm, because if you don't do that, then the urges are going to get too overwhelming and you're just going to cave into those urges. So make sure you keep yourself distracted, and you can do absolutely anything you want which would help you from keeping distracted. So maybe pinging an elastic band on your wrist, maybe doodling on your arm in red pen. So whatever works for you guys, because everyone will have their own different coping mechanisms which will help them. And maybe even cuddling your cat, because I feel like animals are so much better than humans at times. But yeah, honestly guys, if your self-harm is getting worse and it is becoming quite frequent, I would advise you to see your GP, and they can either refer you to a counsellor, a therapist, or they would refer you to like a mental health team, because they can think that you need more in-depth help, because overcoming self-harm is not a quick fix, because when you're mentally unwell, like you don't think self-harming is a problem, because it's just your way of like coping with things, and that's just your coping mechanism. So you won't really think there's anything wrong with you doing self-harm. And that's why you can't really help yourself in some situations when it comes to self-harm, because sometimes your problems are a bit more in depth and you need professional help. But yes, anyway guys, I hope you found this video somewhat helpful. And yeah, I'll see you all on my next video. Bye!